How you doing, guys? Great to see you here. Today I have another Lore Finder deck profile. This is going to be one of the ones from the Glory Finder bundle deck for sure. This is just a mashup for sure. This is probably going to be like version 1 compared to all the other ones and stuff. This one I really don't feel too confident for sure, so I'll probably just do updated deck profile in the future with a couple of changes for sure, but use my deck profile as a reference for sure. But yeah, this is just like the machina one, mainly using cards from the Runecraft starter deck or Runecraft deck for sure. That will just give you access to all all the other stuff, especially this guys. The machina golems are pretty freaking good by themselves. So yeah, this is kind of like a deck based around them. It is a little bit tricky for sure, but yeah. Anyways, starting off with the leader or your glory card. Your leader is going to be Runecraft, and your Glory Finder card is going to be Electo. He has 2 effects. He has Ward, and during the when you play him, you put any card from your hand into your EX area. And the other effects that during the end phase, he gets +2/+2 to each follower on the field and into your EX area. So the only annoying part is that he doesn't get that buff, but if he stays on the field for long enough and you put, for example, one of these guys in the back, this guy will get pretty freaking big in the long run, so you can kind of like OTK some of your opponents, and it's pretty freaking good. But yeah, other than that, that's going to be your glory card. I'm going to go into the evolve deck real quick. So we have his evolve version. Obviously he evolves for 1. His effect is the same as the regular one, that during the end phase he gives +2/+2 to everything in your EX and the field. And obviously, and on evolve you choose something in your EX area and it costs 5 less, so it's pretty freaking good for sure. It's like a Daria in a nutshell. So the other one is Dispone. He just the regular version, he just evolves if 3 cards were destroyed that turn. He has the same effect as the regular one. When he attacks, you refresh him, and he can only attack certain amount of times other than the enemies that you have. So if you have 3 opponents, he can attack 3 times. If you have 2 opponents, he can attack 2 times. So yeah, if you have playing against 3 opponents, obviously he can attack 3 times, destroy 3 things, and you can kind of like evolve the regular version into him, and he turns a little bit bigger for sure. The other effect is that when he attacks, he refreshes and he doesn't take that. He doesn't take damage. The other cool thing about him is that he has a sail, so he is pretty freaking good. Next we have, let's go to the Glory Finder cards. 1 Icarus. Put 2 cards, up to 2 cards from your hand to the bottom of the deck and draw that many cards. So it's basically just to start thinning out your deck. You kind of really want to get into your main machina cards to win the game for sure. So yeah, obviously any card that draws you a card is a pretty good card for sure. The only annoying part is that you have to put cards from your hand into the bottom first, so just picking whatever you need is pretty annoying. But yeah, obviously we're playing 1 Merlin, 1 the main leader because since there are staples, 1 copy of Lucifer, 1 Shenlong, Asian Elf, 1 Octrees, and 1 Wool Wielder Ginger, and 4 carrots because we playing a couple of Uma cards for sure. But yeah, Wool Wielder is pretty good. You play any card from your hand into the field, but they cannot attack nor activate their fanfare. That's the only annoying part. Obviously the regular version can cheat out like only 1 card for sure, so you could, I don't know, play something like the Aura guy, this guy, for free kinda, and just go from there, burning opponents 1 by 1. Octrees, mainly since you will probably going to be putting cards into your EX area. Octrees has the effect that if your opponent has 10 cards in their cemetery, all the cards that you have in your EX area cost 2 less. Since you will have cards in your EX area, is just mainly to have them cycling and all this stuff. And the other effect is that you can steal stuff from different cemeteries. Ancient Elf is just to bounce, Lucifer just to deal that damage, and Shenlong is just a good heal for sure. So yeah, that's it for the evolve deck. And the carrots, obviously we have a couple of Uma cards, so yeah. Anyway, starting for the Glory Finder cards, to spawn, he does the same as the evolve one. The only thing is that if 3 enemies followers were put into the cemetery this turn, you get to evolve him. So yeah, they don't have to be destroyed, they just have to be put into the cemetery, so he can just evolve. He has rush and assail, so he's pretty good for sure. The other guy, this guy, he has aura, cannot be destroyed by abilities. Obviously that's the ability. The other effect is that at the start during the end phase, select an enemy follower on the field and deal it 10 damage, and then the other one during your main phase, you can select an enemy leader and deal it 10 damage, so you can kind of like burn your opponent every turn. And basically this two, if you use this pawn and put this 2 into the EX or into the field, you could get this 2 pretty big, so your opponent has to have a bad time getting rid of them. We're playing 1 copy of acceleration. This will just get you access to T-Spawn. I will prefer just adding T-Spawn first, since T-Spawn by itself can just basically OTK your opponents if you know how to play your cards right. 1 golem squad. This has cost 3. Has another effect that you have to send a follower that from your field that costs 5 or more to the graveyard and pay 3 and discard a card. And the effect is that you look at the top 7 and summon any follower from among them, and then put the rest in your bottom. It's a little bit of a heavy cost card, but since you really want to get any of these guys on the field or anything big, it's like you really don't mind. The annoying part is getting rid of a 5 cost card, but you know, this card might cut it for sure. It's meh, I don't like it that much, but yeah. Grand summoning is pretty good. For 8 costs is a little bit annoying, but if your leader is room, that it will be. Search your deck for up to one follower that costs 3 and a follower that costs 5 or less and summon them. If your leader is Runecraft, then you can have you can play an additional 7 cost card and recover 2 play points, so you can play this and a bunch of other cards for sure. So you have plenty of options. You can either play T-Spawn and some of the other wards and all the stuff, Chinlong, T-Spawn, and so on and so forth. You can kind of like get you kind of feel me. The only annoying part is that, you know, it's a heavy cost card for sure, but it's a spell. You can search it with Merlin in any turn and then play it when the time comes. But yeah, the Icarus does the same effect as the evolved version. Relinquish Reason. This is one of those staples that, well, you want to play this, so if your opponent attacks you or something, you can just, you know, basically redirect the attack to someone else. Athena, I already explained it in the past, is going to be one of those staples that, you know, once you play it, your opponent must deal damage to this card for sure, so it counts as a leader kinda. But yeah, that's it for the Glory Finder cards. Now going to the staples, as I like to call it. Path to Purgatory, Lyra, so you don't get burned. Execution, Themis Degree, Board Wipe. This is a card that I really been liking, to be honest, as a staple. Revive something and give it work. It's mainly just a card to revive. It's one of those cards that only revives, revives something 8 or less, so it's pretty good. Three's Adjudication and Fate's Hand. This two just draw you 2 cards for sure, same as Path to Purgatory, Gen Staff Commander, Bane Leader, Merlin, and Dragon's Oracle. These are basically going to be, you know, your bread and butter. I already said it, the power 4, and I will not get rid of this, but by the looks of it, this in here is basically the cards that I will never get rid of for sure. You'll probably see them in all my decks. So yeah, right, that's it for the staple-ish. For Dragoncraft, we have 1 Colossal Construct, 1 Dragon's Nest, Blazing Bread, Genesis Dragon, Serpent's Rat configuration, and Shenlong. Since you really have a bunch of like main points is just to play big cards and stuff, or just put them to your EX area and cheat them out. Basically, if you play a bunch of other cards, for example, you also have Will Wielder Ginger, so same as the other Ginger deck that I have. You really want to play a bunch of high cost cards that, you know, they will be give you a good advantage. The good thing about the Dragoncraft cards is that, you know, if you're in overflow, they trigger other effects. For example, Blazing Breath and Dragon's Nest. This will heal you and draw you 1 if you're in overflow. Serpent's Rat, if you're an overflow, you deal 1 damage, and you deal 5 damage, and you go from there, so on and so forth. Closer Construct is the only card that will recycle cards back into the deck. You choose 5 cards into your cemetery, put them into the deck, shuffle it, and then deal 5 damage to something. You mainly want to use the effect to put cards back into your deck. So it's one of those cards that just, if you're going to lose, you can play this, and you don't lose by deck out, or you could just recycle cards that you don't need. I feel like I mentioned this card in the Skull Fame video. I'm not sure if I played this. I think like I did, because this card's pretty amazing and I really like it. But yeah, that's it for Dragoncraft. For Swordcraft, when play the 1 Octress, 1 Alexander, Armor of the Stars, Outrunning the Erosion Heat, Front Guard General, and that's it for the Runecraft. Obviously, you really want to play some high cost cards. Front Guard General, you could play this, and then the next turn or something, or the same turn, you could just go ahead and play the Golem Squad, getting rid of him, looking at top 7, calling something, and he then makes you 2 Steelclad Knights with Ward. So basically, you don't lose too much. Obviously, it's not the most optimal play, but I know that might come here and there. These 2 are basically one of the cards that you will probably search with Merlin if you have this and to spawn. And this guy right here, and this guy is pretty big. Yeah, you could see some OTKs there where you could just go ahead and play this, give him Storm, and basically just boom boom, attack one enemy, and 1 by 1 you get rid of them and all that stuff, or just get rid of the most problematic guy. But yeah, but if you choose a Uma follower, it gets +1/+1, and since we're playing a couple of Uma cards, it's pretty good. Alexander is just that crowd control. He attacks and refreshes, so yeah, he's pretty cool, to be honest. And 5/9 is pretty good. That's in stats. And then Octress is the one card that it's pretty good. Like I said, I mainly play it for the evolved one. She evolves for free. Your opponent has 10 cards in the graveyard. When you play it, each opponent puts the top 2 cards of the deck into the graveyard, and then the other effects that you can pay 8 and just put something, play something for free from from any opponent's graveyard. So yeah. For Runecraft cards, a couple other each staples. We're playing the 1 Consecration with the 1 Teaching of Creation and the 1 Gingerbread House. These are going to be your stack cards for sure. And these are basically your only cards that consume stack. We're playing the 1 Wielder Ginger. This cheats out some of the cards that you need. For example, you could just go ahead and play this and summon any other follower, and you could either evolve it or do other stuff, same as my Wielder Ginger deck profile. Basically, the deck revolves around summoning stuff for free, and not, since they don't have any fanfare effect, you don't really have to worry about it, or you could just go ahead and evolve them and go from there. For example, you have Lucifer in here, playing a Bahamut without having to do a board wipe is pretty good, and so on and so forth. But yeah, Fiercely Embrace is basically another copy of Execution. The only thing that this doesn't destroy amulets, but it's another card that to destroy, get rid of problematic cards. And Narita Top Road is just draw 2 for sure. Next, for Forest, we're playing a bunch of cards to add cards to your hand, and staple-ish. So this too is mainly Deep Wood Anomaly. If your opponent is playing a haha card and is playing Deep Wood Anomaly, you can just go ahead and mark the 6, and you don't take damage that turn, so Deep Wood Anomaly doesn't trigger. Or Woodkin Curse, the same thing. Choose an enemy follower on the field being Deep Wood Anomaly, and if it deals damage, it cannot deal damage that turn, so it's pretty good. And then in here, these are just cards to add cards back to your hand, so you can basically recycle any card that you need. For example, you could just go ahead and add Merlin back to your hand and draw a card, and go on from there, and so on and so forth. But yeah, anyways, next for Abysscraft, we're only playing the 1 Pandemonium Punk Devil. Obviously, we're playing Death Spread over there, and I feel those are the only cards that are pretty good as staples. This is Ward. It can get, you can give it Bane, if you need to get rid of problematic cards for sure. And if he dies, he just gets +2 HP. Next for Haven, we have the Dark Charisma or Globe to Stairways, Asian Protector. Since you're playing a bunch of high cost cards, having something like this amulet that if your leader's HP goes to 0, you don't lose, and you basically recover one. And the other effect is that your opponents cannot win the game and you cannot lose the game while this card is on the field. So yeah, it's pretty good. It saves you from those weird alternate win cons. So yeah. The Dark Charisma searches for an amulet. This should be like a staple, but I don't know. Sometimes I just get rid of it because yeah, it's cool, but it's a little bit iffy. The Will to Overtake is pretty good. Look at top three. Good card to start. Look at top three. Stack them however you want, and then pay 2 and draw 1. So you basically guarantee whatever you need from top 3. Star Torrent. Since you have a couple of amulets for sure. And same thing with Dark Charisma. Dark Charisma will search you for Acceleratum. Star Torrent, if you have a amulet of it, yeah, an amulet, you give your leader +2 and deal 3 damage to every engaged enemy on the enemy follower on the field. Yeah. And then finally, but not least, I'm playing 1 Bahamut and 1 Lucifer. I was playing Israfil, but it kind of like ran out of space for sure. You could play the Israfil for sure, and it will be pretty good. You have plenty of space. There are some cards that you could get rid of it and put Israfil, but as of now, I feel like these two are pretty good because it will benefit if you play them with Ginger or the Tispone, with Electo. But yeah, anyways. That's it for the deck profile, and that Lucifer went flying. Alright, that's it for the deck profile. Obviously, I'll probably do another deck profile in the future about this guy. I'll just see how things went, and well, yeah. Anyways, that's it for the deck profile. And